Thirdly, there's an added mechanic, which is the trauma target value. So when you're attacked, when you're hit with an attack, you roll a trauma die. If the trauma die of the weapon or the attack of whatever kind beats your trauma target, it is a traumatic hit. You then take multiplicative damage. So, for example,
I don't think I caught that.
Yeah. So, if your trauma value is 6, which is 6 is the default, and then you can modify it with armor or cyberware or foci or whatever. There's lots of ways to modify your trauma target. If someone has a rifle and they shoot you, the trauma die on the rifle is a D8. If they roll an 8, the damage from the rifle, which is 1d10 plus 2, is multiplied by 3.
So it's kind of like exploding dice.
No, it's not exploding dice because it multiplies the final amount.
Right, but it's a similar thing where if you max out, it's kind of... I don't know how else to put it.
It's meaner than explosive dice.
It is, but it's the same idea where you hit a certain number, now there's an extra function.
Yes, now extra shit rolls up. And now you might say, like, okay, okay, the damage is 3 timed. Is that a lot of damage? You're dead. At level 1,
it's narratively just saying you just got domed. Like,
yeah, so at level 1, your normal hit die, if you don't have the hard to kill edge, is a D6. So a D6 plus your con modifier is your starting HP. So you have 7 HP. If someone rolls a traumatic hit with a rifle, you're just done. You're down.
You are cooked.
You're not instantly dead. You're down. You can still revive. Like, someone can still pick you up, but you're downed. So, and then even at higher levels, at level 10, your hit dice are 10d6. So let's say you roll really well and you have 60 HP. 30 HP from a normal rifle, mind you, completely unmodified standard rifle could do 30 damage. So half your HP at max level from a normal ass gun. Actually, it would be more than that because it'd be a D10 plus 2. So you'd be looking at what, 20, 30,
36,
32, 36. Yeah. Potentially 36 damage. So, yeah. Traumatic hits are bad. Now, here's the thing, though. And this is, again, this is to enforce the cyberpunk nature of, like, nobody is a superhuman, right? Shit can go really bad really quickly. But this also applies to the enemies. So you, as a player, if you roll over your trauma die, can just dome a really dangerous NPC in a single shot if you get lucky. So it does go in both directions. And there are ways to also modify your trauma damage too. Like, there are like cyberware and shit that can modify that. So, it can be, the lethality is high on both ends of the spectrum. Or both sides of the field, I should say.
Yeah, you hit hard, and then you get hit really hard.
Yeah. The last big combat change is this game has permanent injuries. So if a target who has taken a traumatic hit during the fight reaches 0 HP, you roll for a traumatic injury. Not, just to be clear, not if the traumatic hit downs you, if you've taken a traumatic hit at all. So even if you get a traumatic hit, but the enemy rolled really bad on the dice, like maybe they rolled a 1 on their die, so the traumatic hit is only like 3 or 4 damage. You didn't take a lot of damage, but if you go down, that traumatic hit turns into a permanent injury. So getting traumatic hit can have lasting consequences.
Right,
also.
and I was a little unclear about that. So, like, for example, if you roll the traumatic injury, right leg ruined, you can crawl at best when stabilized.
Yeah.
It doesn't say how to, like, some of these say how you fix it, right? Brain damage. You're in a coma until you get
Cyberware.
Any limb cyberware?
Cyberware.
Oh, yeah, there. Sorry. How did I miss that? It's right below the fucking table.
I don't know. But yes. So you can take lasting injuries, but because it's a cyberpunk game, you can replace it with basic cyberware. You can also just get like basic prosthetic cyberware. It doesn't have to necessarily be like fancy robo leg. It could just be prosthetic leg, you know?
Yes, it will still reduce your system strain though.
It will take up system strain, yes. And it does, you know, you do have to pay for it and all that other shit. So like basically getting shot in the leg is a bad time. But you're not like, it's not like a D&D situation, or well, D&D is maybe not the best example, but it's not like a fantasy game situation where, oh, I lost my arm and there's not a reliable way to get it back. This is Cyberpunk. You have a very reliable way to get it back. But there is consequence. So again, going back to that idea of operators are just a little bit more lucky, just that tad little bit more skilled than everyone else. You know, you're going through the fight, you take everyone down, you take a traumatic hit, oh fuck, but you make it through the fight. All right, well, I have a cybernetic leg, I'm back again. You know, so it's brutal, but it has that push and pull. Like, yes, it can be bad, but you can also mitigate the bad. There's always there's a back and forth that you can do, that you can access pretty reliably. Obviously, you know, eventually you will just like have too much shit, but by that point you're all cybered up and fucked up and your character's probably not long for the world anyway. There is a small chance you instantly die from a major injury. If you roll, it's a D12. If you roll a 1, you do instantly die.
Yeah.
Which I think, what percentage is that?
12. You're looking at.
Yeah, because a D20 would be 5%.
7 point. Either 7.5 or 7.25.
That sounds right.
Because if you have a 30%, so if it's a D3, you'd have a 30% chance. D6, you've got a 15%
D12,
chance, 15 point. 15 point something percent chance, and you half that again to a D12, so 7.5.
8%.
8%, all right.
We're close. 8%. 8.3 repeating percent. What you're looking at. So yeah. So there is an 8% chance, but keep in mind, that's an 8% chance after you've taken a traumatic hit and you've gone down. Right? So you have to take the traumatic hit, which is already a chance, not guaranteed. Then you have to go down after taking the traumatic hit. Then you roll on the major injury and potentially instant die. So it's not likely to happen, but it can happen. And then once you're out of the fight, that traumatic hit, the traumatic hit thing resets. It doesn't carry from fight to fight. All this is saying, the point I'm making at, the game is like mean, but fair in its meanness for the most part.
It's a bit like Kane in that way, where there's like it goes back to the perceived difficulty versus practical difficulty. Like, you can get mulched in this game, but there are enough safety nets for you to not do that immediately.
Yes, and this is also not even accounting for, again, edges and foci and gear and other cyberware, and there's all sorts of ways to modify a lot of these numbers. Also, if you have a cybernetic arm and you roll a major injury and it hits your arm, well, it was already a cybernetic arm anyway. You could just repair it.
Right.
So there's that element to it too. So there's lots of different elements going on here.